Somebody bought the house in Steve. Have you met them yet?
No,
Okay.
I've seen them over there, but I don't know who they are.
We're recording.
Okay, this meeting of the Design Review Board, April 3, 2024, is called to order by Lori Gannell at 5:30 p.m. I'll do roll call. Bob DeCruff.
Here?
Peter Gaffer, excused. Lori Gannell, here. John Guy.
Here.
Ben Lepley.
Here.
Doug Taylor, excused. Ted Schriever.
Here.
Frank Davis.
Here.
And Emmanuel Stewart.
Here.
And then Javier Rodriguez, is he planning on being here?
Yeah.
I think he'll just be late.
Okay, he will be here. All right, great. This time I'll make a call to the public. If there are any residents of the city of Bisbee who would like to speak this time regarding any design review board topics that are not on the agenda, you may come forward. Okay, nobody? Then we will move on to agenda item number 1, old business. Application number 23-123. I believe Rob Page is the person that would be speaking.
Right, and I don't believe he's in attendance. So we just need to table the agenda item again.
Okay, so do I have to make a motion for
Yes,
that?
ma'am.
Yes. So I would like to make a motion to table application number 23-123 until our next meeting. Do we have a second? Okay, seconded by Mr. Guy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Okay, the ayes have it, 5-0. All right, moving on. Oh, this is going so quickly, isn't that nice? Okay, application, our agenda item number 2, still old business. Application 24-10, 16A Wood Canyon. Cynthia Mills is the owner, and David Neufeld, and neither one of them. Oh yeah, hi David, come
I
on
was
up.
gonna say, I thought I saw you.
Yeah,
Hiding.
he was hiding behind the podium, I didn't see him.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the 5 members of the board who came up to 16A and looked around. That was great. Appreciate it. I have photos here if it helps, but I'd like to just say a couple of things. First from historical, then aesthetic, and then structural, and I'll keep it under 3 minutes.
Okay. Carry
So
on.
historically, it's likely that most of the houses in Bisbee had screen porches. And then post-historically, they got closed in because we had air conditioning and heat. So this particular house had a screen porch, and there's evidence of it in photos. No historical photos, but plenty. And then the other part is that the 3 houses on the same street have the same notch out of the corner.
Okay.
Sure, you might have seen them. You live on
Yes,
that
I
street.
do, and I walk down that street every day.
So, and then this shows what you've seen. Thank you for seeing it. It shows where the boards were spliced in order to finish that porch. So that's the historic part. The aesthetic part is if I cannot nail down an aesthetic for Bisbee. Every street has 7 different kinds of houses, and that's all I'll say there. Structurally, I appreciate the request for a post in the corner, and that's what we've added to the design. Where we're cutting out, I have more drawings, etc. Let's see, a lot of them. Here's a cut from the street side, and here is the cut in the post from the yard side. Okay. And I'm just hoping that we can get this through. I've read through this document, so I know a little bit better what you're after.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Neufeld. Appreciate it. Okay, at this point, I would like to open this application up for public comments. If there's anybody here who would like to speak for or against? No? Okay, we do have a couple of comments. Do I wait until after staff for this? From
Yeah,
board
just
members?
for the
Yeah.
board, yeah.
Okay, any staff comments?
No.
Nothing, okay. Board discussion is open. Do I need to read these?
I think Mr. DeCruff and Mr. Guy can speak on theirs, but if you want to read Peter's since he's not here.
Okay, so Mr. Gaffer is out of the country. He says, as a follow-up action item to the DRB meeting of March 6th, this morning I visited the property at 16A Wood Canyon to reassess the applicant's request to rebuild the corner of the residence adjacent to the top of the concrete, access stairs. Since I will not be able to attend the next DRB meeting on April 3, I would like, if allowable, my comments below to be read into the record. 1. On close examination of the siding at the northeast corner of the house, it appears likely that this was not original, and in fact there was once an open porch along part of the east side of the house. 2. The current east side of the house is relatively featureless by Bisbee standards and would be improved by the proposed modifications to the northeast corner. The majority of houses in Bisbee have either porches built out from the front of the main structure or, please excuse my lack of architectural fluency, a porch notched into the main structure. The applicant would therefore satisfy this deficiency with their proposed modification. 3, the application included a cantilevered corner to the roof. I would prefer to see a corner post, even if structurally this is unnecessary. And then 4, I therefore support the application as presented with the single provision of item 3. Okay?
Could have said that with an accent, I would have swore Peter would say.
I know, right? I didn't practice, I didn't realize. Okay, and so the discussion is open. Mr. Guy, you might have something to say?
Sure, yeah. So I reviewed the property and I felt that the house could use some detail up front. I thought that the front steps or the access stairs into the house definitely needed some cleaner transition. I think that our standards have a wealth of knowledge and information that that allow us to approve those type of items that you're requesting. So I really do think that that would be something that would make the house fit better in the neighborhood, and I also think that it could use some detail up front. So.
Thank you. Mr. Cruff, you also?
Well, I visited the home as well. I also had access to the inside to understand what the initial layout might have been. And I agree with the other comments. There's strong evidence that this used to be an open or screen porch and has been enclosed. You can tell by the type of construction and the fact that, you know, the ventilation system looks like it was an add-on. The electrical outlets look modern. So I feel strongly that this modification does not compromise what the initial design intent of the home was.
Thank you. Mr. Lepley, yeah, please.
Yeah, I went up there today and looked around, and it does seem like there was a porch there for all 3 windows. So going back to here. And then I think there was a photo of another house, this yellow one with the corner porch. I think, you know, popping that detail would be great. And I would just, a large word of caution with the flooring. So if you open that up, what's going to happen with the flooring and changing it so that it can drain and not swell if it gets rained on, cause termites and stuff like that. So that's, you know, a big problem with interior kind of flooring when you open it up, but you probably already know all that stuff. So
I can speak to that if you'd like.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Schreiber?
Yeah, I was there when, with Peter and looked at your place, and, you know, I certainly understand what you want to do. I don't have a problem with it. Is it something I would do? I don't think it's necessary, but I know you have your heart set on it, and yeah, I'd vote for it.
Okay. Any other discussion on this matter this time?
yeah, I probably wouldn't vote for it if there hadn't been a porch there before, but since it looks like there was one there, definitely,
That's a good point.
Yeah,
definitely
I'm
like,
convinced by that argument, yeah.
Miss
Okay, with
Lori,
that-
May I-
Yes,
could the board please refrain from giving how they would vote on it?
oh, yes,
but
yeah.
we've always done that.
I
I've been
know,
on the
but
board for 6 years.
But you
and we've
shouldn't do
always
it.
done
You shouldn't do it.
Okay,
You can do it when they call for the motion and call for the vote, but you shouldn't do it while there's the discussion.
okay, thank you. All right, yes,
Just because, your point, Ben, is excellent. We are taking out the wood floor, we're filling up to the top, concrete tiling with a minute pitch. There'll be no water, no swelling. Thanks.
okay. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I make a motion that
Okay, you
we,
should do it into the mic so they can hear me.
I make a motion
that we approve this, application 2410,
As is?
as is, yes, with the inclusion of the supporting posts.
Do I have a
I'll
second? Okay, seconded by Mr. Crook. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Okay, we have 5 ayes in favor. Your application passes.
Thank you.
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Okay, moving along to new business. Agenda item 3, application 24-19, 304 Curve Street.
Hi there,
Hello.
my name is Mike Allen, I'm the owner of 304 Curve Street. Pretty straightforward what I want to do,
Okay,
hopefully get your blessing and we'll be out of here.
do you want to describe the project for us, even though it's in here?
Here you
It's
go.
helpful. The project basically consists of, I'm putting in central air conditioning, so I need to get permission from you to put a condenser on the ground because the property boundaries are actually at the property boundary. There's only one spot where a compressor can go, and that's on the west side of the building. The other item that we wish to do is we wish to take out a door on the west side of the building, I'm sorry, a window, and replace it with a 60 by 14 window. And then we wish to, on that same west wall, add a door for a utility closet, and the door that's going to be used on the west side is going to be the door taken from the south side. That south side door is useless, it goes to a bedroom, so we're just going to re-clapboard that up and take that door and put it on the west side. I think in addition to that, we are going to replace the deck as is. I don't know if that was administratively approved or not, but we
Yes.
can take a look.
The roof, the electrical panel, and the deck were administrative.
Okay, thank you, Diane.
You're
Yeah, that's the scope of the work.
Can you describe the materials for the new window?
Yes, the window is a mill guard, aluminum clad window, and I submitted that in your package. There's also existing metal window on the east side of the building to give you a perspective of how it's gonna look. The trim, all the moldings, the casing will be all original, and will follow the traditional architectural style for anything that we modify.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, at this time, I will open up agenda item number 3 to public comment. Does anybody have anything to say for or against this project? No? Okay. Moving on to staff comments. Javier?
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
you have
go
to
ahead.
wait till board
Sorry.
discussion, yeah.
Yeah, just because the windows were being moved and stuff like that, that's why it's brought before. Also, the placing of the mini split, we're a little curious about it, maybe there could be a cover or something to kind of hide it, conceal it, because it is in a tough spot to pick where it goes. You know, maybe some type of.
Is it the
cover.
mini split or HVAC system?
No, it's an HVAC system.
HVAC system?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
So it's the, yeah,
yeah, so there's only one spot for it to go. We tried to put it underneath the patio deck. It doesn't have enough clearance for the proper air circulation, otherwise that would be a good choice.
Yeah,
I don't think you wanna put it on the front of the property, because as you turn around to Curve Street, the likelihood of somebody driving into it is probably pretty good. So if board wants to have some type of a screen wall, or some type of a natural, wall with ocotillos, or anything you suggest, I'm not opposed to it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Javier,
Thank you.
appreciate it. And we'll now open up the board discussion, go ahead.
Okay. I have a quick question. I don't have my east and west figured out yet in this city, so.
Neither do I.
Always always tough.
The AC unit and the windows, are they visible from the road?
The short answer is yes. If you drive the wrong way down a one-way street, yes, they're visible.
That's pretty common around here.
Yeah, so, I mean, yes, they are visible.
Okay.
Probably,
And Bob, they're kind of in a breezeway, so the two houses, what, are the houses 12 foot apart, 15 foot apart?
I'd say they're probably 15 to 18 feet apart.
So it's in between the two houses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And as you round Curve Street and go uphill, if you make a quick look, then you can see it.
Gotcha, thank you.
Mr. Lepley?
I noticed under the porch was the old swamp cooler.
Correct.
Can the mini split not go down there?
No, and that swamp cooler was used to cool the basement.
It's an HVAC system though.
Yeah, but why wouldn't it? Because you can, the flex lines, you can put it anywhere.
It won't get the proper cooling per the specs for the mini split, because the mini split still needs to have a condenser. And the condenser would have to be placed outside. The condenser can't be placed underneath the patio. There's not enough clearance. It has to have a minimum of 3 feet clearance.
Does a fan blow up or out?
The mini split requires a condenser.
Yeah.
And the fan will blow out, but it still needs, it doesn't have the proper circulation that it needs to be underneath a covered patio. That's per Mitsubishi, per several other vendors that are out there. Plus, a mini split would not be sufficient to cool the entire house. So you need to have multiple mini splits in multiple locations, thus requiring multiple condensing units. And the grade, if we use the front of the house that faces Curve Street, we use that as south for just this conversation. You'll see at the grade as you go to the west, the slope gets lower and lower. Even at the farthest end, there's not enough circulation for the condenser units for the mini splits. Then you'd be stuck with a mini split. The mini split would have to be placed on the outside of the house someplace, which would be more obtrusive than a simple condensing unit that, to this gentleman's point, the only way you can see it is you literally have to turn to go out of your way to look at it.
My question is about the 60 by 14-inch window.
Yes, ma'am.
That window is not really in any kind of historic style that is appropriate to this contributing structure.
Okay. You have another window that's on the exact opposite side, that's the same thing. Instead of being 60 inches long, it's 36 inches long.
36 by 14.
Yes, ma'am. So if you look at, I'm not sure what page this is, but this is the existing window that is on the east side of the building. That's an existing window. That's an aluminum window that has a screen over it.
Is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah. So when you say that, then the window I'm proposing is not architecturally relevant, that's the window that's existing right now on the east side of the building. So instead of my window being 48 inches or 36 inches wide, it's gonna be 60 inches. So if the board wants me to reduce it to 36 by 14, just to be consistent with the pre-existing architecture, I have no problem with it. I'd like to have a 60-inch wide, but
And that that 14-inch window, that's a bathroom, I'm assuming?
Yes, sir.
You're gonna find out?
Correct.
I think it's pretty fantastic, you're saving the rest of the windows in the house, there's a lot of wavy glass in that.
There's no problem with the windows, I mean, they all work, they just need a little elbow grease.
Like the wavy glass.
There's a bunch of that in the house.
My background is in historic preservation for 30 years, so anything you guys need me to do, as long as it's within reason and practical, I'm not opposed to it.
Okay, thank you.
So you're taking an old existing double hung window and taking that same window and moving it somewhere else?
No, I'm taking it out altogether. So, the window you're referencing is on this page right here. That window is gonna be replaced. And I drew in there the 60 by 12 or 60 by 14 proposed window that I'd like to put in there. And the window trim will be the same trim that's existing throughout the whole house. So, to this young lady's point, if you didn't want the 60-inch window, because you said it's not architecturally relevant, then I would reduce it in size to match the existing window that's on the east side.
Well,
But to your point, yes, I'm taking that window out.
yeah, the relevant window for the main floor would be the windows that are there, because those are what are historic. Taking a basement vent window,
Well, I'm not taking
putting
it
it
out.
on the, duplicating it and putting it on the upper floor doesn't, architecturally doesn't, jive with the style where they're all vertical.
I notice you have the, picture here, I assume that is the front, right?
I'm gonna call that 304 Curve Street.
Yeah.
You can call that for reference. This is,
Gotcha.
that's the south side of the house.
You've got the railing, if you want to call it that, circled. I'm assuming you're referring to the deck boards and not changing the railing?
The railing is rotten, the deck boards are rotten, the masonry that supports the deck is structurally unsound.
Yeah.
So as far as all the wood is concerned, we would be matching or replicating like for like. The same
Gotcha.
shiplap, the same reveal, there's about 6 inches of a bottom rail. We'd be replicating that.
What,
And that's already been approved, that was administratively approved. But yes,
what is the dimensions of they look like they're all the same, these historic vertical windows. It looks to me like 30 by 50?
then I didn't measure them, but we're not changing the windows, I'm just removing a window. So all the windows throughout the house, except on the north side, are all the same. The north side has some smaller windows, because that's where the kitchen is, and there's a couple of other smaller windows. If you turn to so, if we go to this page where the electrical panel is, I'm gonna call that the north side. Those 3 windows that are on the back, those are smaller in size, shorter, I should say. That's because where the kitchen is.
Oh, yeah, counter.
Yeah.
So that actually leads me to a question. I'm glad you brought that up. So these are smaller because there's a counter under them, right? So for this new window, so there's a utility to that, right? For this new window, I mean, clearly it's 60 by 12. Is there a utility, a reason that it's that dimension and not
Yeah.
the
So
historic?
on the inside of that room is what's called a wet room. That wet room is 6 feet deep by 8 feet wide. It has a 32-inch soaking tub with a 2-person shower. You guys are welcome to come and use it whenever you want.
Oh, thank you, appreciate that.
But the functionality of it is just that, Ben, it's to bring light into that room and to have it up high, because you put a conventional window there, even a smaller window, albeit you put a wood window in there, putting a wood window into a room that has constant moisture, you know, it is what it is.
And this window that you'd like to remove is outside of the wet room?
No, that's inside. the
It's
bedroom.
inside.
Yes, ma'am.
And is it damaged, this window?
You could define damage, I mean, it opens up and closes,
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not a good window. It can be restored,
Mhm.
which we plan to do with the rest of the windows. But the goal is not to keep that window there.
And I think that's an important point to make, that he is restoring the other windows.
Mhm. Mhm.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one of the reasons why the mini splits really didn't function too well is that despite the fact that we're gonna insulate the ceiling with blown-in insulation, your R values, your energy code, a whole bunch of other things, the mini splits don't become very efficient because you're using the old windows.
Yeah.
You change out the old windows with low-E glass, and now you have a completely different dynamic, which opens the door to other possibilities.
I've got another question.
Yeah,
if
no
you don't
problem.
mind.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea when this home was built?
I would have done, I'm gonna say in the 1920s, 1930s
Okay, so-
maybe?
Not 1982.
Yeah, I can
Definitely
tell
1980s.
that. So, this is sort of similar to the question I had with Andy. So what we're looking at, you're pretty sure that's original as best as you can tell?
I would say they're original windows. They're-
No, the whole, we're looking at, where you're moving windows and removing doors.
Well, I can tell you where that, we're gonna call this the west elevation. I can tell you that where that door and that window are, were not originally there. That was a deck. That was a wraparound deck around that whole place. They took, if you go to this page, okay, where you start to see those stairs go up onto the patio. And then if you go to, so if you go to this front page right here,
Mhm.
okay? You see where this lamp is?
Yes.
Everything to the left of that lamp, that used to be the porch. That's why this roof overhangs like all this, it was a wraparound porch.
Gotcha.
Now,
Well,
I
It's
don't.
possible that they took the original window that was on that side and just put it.
They probably did, I mean,
Yeah.
that would be a fair assumption. But when was this built, and when was this built, I can tell you that the clapboard that's here is the same as the clapboard that's here, so probably the clapboard is not original. If you go back to when the house was built,
Yeah.
I would assume 20 years later, if the house was built in 1910, 20 years later, they didn't have modern techniques to preserve the wood. So at probably sometime this whole entire house was recladded. And my assumption is that they chose to enclose this patio to create more space.
Does the house have, on the exterior shell, does the house have 2x4 studs, or is it
They're a 1x4.
board and batten, vertical board and batten?
They're both, combination of both.
Because the board and batten was usually what was original, and then in the 30s, people started putting the cladding over the vertical.
I can tell you that the vertical members that are along that patio that's been enclosed are 1x3s. So, it's typical Bisbee construction. They took whatever they could and they scabbed on. We infilled it with 2x6s for insulation purposes, everything else. Structural stability. But again, that's on the inside and on the outside.
So the door you want to remove, where
So
does
if we look at this here.
Yeah.
You'll see an X.
Yeah,
And that door is going to be removed. That door is going to be replaced right there.
right. Where's that door lead to?
Goes into the utility room where the hot water heater's going to be.
Gotcha.
Well,
Just moving the door around the corner.
I think it is important to note, I didn't realize this until you pointed it out, I should have, that is definitely like a porch that they walled in. So, I mean, I think
Mhm.
that's To me, that's important.
To do what with?
Well, that it's not original, right?
Oh, so it's not original. But the window, to somebody's point, that window is the same date as all the other windows in the house, so. My assumption is they took the window from one location and they put that patio there. That room was a bathroom, we just made the bathroom bigger. So,
So you're removing the door on the deck side,
yes ma'am,
and then this door,
that door remains,
that door remains. Is this your front door?
no?
What, okay, what's
Front
where's
door
the
is-
front door?
So I say that this door was added, there's my front door. way
Oh, I
over
see,
there.
okay, got it.
This door right here, that was added.
All right,
That goes into a bedroom.
so it's right next to your front door.
No,
Where's your front
my
door?
front door is all the way at the end.
Oh, okay, oh, okay.
You're looking at the south elevation,
Mm-hmm,
all the way at the very end, that is my front door.
okay,
What was pretty common back in the day is that they took this house and they divided it up into multiple rooms.
yeah,
So there was a window there, or something was there, I don't know what. I can't imagine they'd have a window this close to another window, so they put a door in there.
There could have been a staircase going down to the street over there too.
Could have been, because there's stairs in the basement that go to nowhere. We can't figure out how the stairs went up to the main floor. Right to the left of where that swamp cooler is a set of concrete stairs in the basement. And the basement is only 6 feet tall. So,
yeah. People weren't that tall back
they weren't that picky either. So, I mean, that's what we got.
then. Okay. I think the only thing that I'm a little concerned about is that window. But since that is not original, I don't suppose it is that big of a deal. Looks like an original window, but it might have been relocated from somewhere else in town.
Probably just from, moved it from here out.
Yeah, right. Any other, discussion? Anybody like to make a motion on this application?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve application 2419 as submitted.
I'll
I
second.
would like to see a screen on the AC unit, if there was some
Sure.
wall, screen wall.
If you guys have something, I didn't wanna use, they've got this mattress-like fencing, you guys have seen it. Some people take the box spring from an old mattress and they wrap it around it. I'll do whatever you guys want,
It's just noise attenuation more than anything else. I mean, it's visually, you really can't see it going up Curve Street. But
you want
it
a
is-
trellis to go up in front of it that would block it out?
So how does this work? Do we say, just put
Well,
something
just
on it?
do,
that fits
just
with
give
the-
a very brief, one sentence thing for your motion. That Nina can put on the end of.
I would like to make a motion that we approve 2419 with the exception that there is some screen wall that fits in the fill of the neighborhood around the AC.
No problem.
Mr. Shriver?
I'll second.
Okay, it's seconded by Mr. Shriver. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All against, say nay. Okay, 5 ayes have it.
Okay.
Your application is approved.
All right, guys, have a good evening, thank you.
Yeah, you too, thank you.
Oh, I was gonna take it back, so you didn't have to take it with you. I was trying to be nice.
Okay. Okay. Moving along to agenda item 4, 24-21, 102 Lockland. Joseph.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I would, on the original plans, I put in that and board siding, thinking that would be appropriate for the Old Bisbee area, and also because I thought it'd be easy for me to do. But recently I went to the Firewise meeting that they just had, and realized how important it is to have fire-resistant material as much as possible. So I'd like to change it to a stucco finish on the outside. Also, it's right on the north border of Old Bisbee, so the fire danger of that forest coming down and having a fire close by is,
Yes, you are right there.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
okay.
All right, I'd like to now,
And there are two other houses in that area that are stucco at this time. One right across from the reservoir and one just up on the hill there.
okay, thank you. I would now like to open this application up for public comment. If anybody would like to speak, well, come on up, Mr. Ward. So good to see you. I didn't know you were there.
I wanted to say that if it's one coat stucco, it gives you the impression that it's fire resistant. It's really not. It doesn't have the like 1 hour fire resistance that you're looking for. The 3-coat stucco does. Just adding that to you.
Why, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, anybody else? Okay, so going to staff comments.
We just wanted to bring this in front of you guys, see what you guys think, but I really like the board and band look. That's appropriate in the areas, but this is why it's probably for you guys to see how you feel.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, I will now open up the board discussion. I'm just looking, you know, I'm familiar with the structure
Oh, okay.
because I walk by it a couple times a day. So how are you going to build this thing out? Because right now, it doesn't even look like, I mean, it's very
Right, it's just a
sparse.
foundation.
Yeah.
Hopefully tomorrow I'll get some of the framing up, and then it'll be framed, and then be siding and stucco, or OSB or plywood wrapped, and then stucco over that. And the three-coat stucco is a much better thing, and that's usually what I've done in the past. And I would also try to put a texture on it that would be more of a hand trowel, smooth coat instead of the, you know, the sand finish that most modern houses have.
Right, so are you building new? Because originally it was you were moving this thing.
Right, I am, but I'm enclosing it.
You're moving this and
So I'm
enclosing it.
gonna move it, but I'm gonna set it on walls instead of having it.
Okay. Thank you.
So I take it there's no home on this property, right?
There's no,
No home on this
No.
property? Okay. So you don't need to match anything on the whole house. You
right,
mentioned the neighbors or people close by have stuff, right?
yeah.
It's just an unusual structure. It's so tall.
Well, it won't be that tall.
It won't be this
No,
tall.
that's part of the thing. It's gonna be dropped down to 8 foot instead of as tall as it is.
Oh, I see.
I'm
Okay.
gonna make my usual comment.
Please do.
It's not historic, so
Yeah. Is it not, though? How old is this thing? Do you know?
I would say,
Well, you don't think so? I mean, I can't tell. It's
At least-
very old wood.
oh yeah, no, it's been there 40 or 50 years. Originally, there was a double, or single wide trailer.
1970.
Then they built that structure over the single wide trailer.
I see what you're saying.
And, you know, since then, it's been used for parking RVs
The main
and stuff like
structure is
that, but,
adjacent to that.
I don't have the exact age. no.
Okay. I mean, if it's not gonna be this tall, I
No,
mean, it would be
definitely.
really weird looking if
Yes,
it's
no,
not
I
this
agree.
tall of a
Yeah.
stucco structure.
Right,
Right
that's
up
part of the
there.
reason I was
Right.
Yeah,
wanting to
okay.
drop it, yeah.
All right, great.
And you looked at corrugated metal as an option?
Well, I didn't know if that would be appropriate, but yeah, I could look at that. That would be,
Well, I mean,
reasonable to me that it
If you
would.
look at Castle Rock from the highway, there's that beautiful
Oh, it's so cool.
stepping corrugated metal shed
So cool.
that's been up there since the 40s. That's corrugated metal, and then all along OK Street, there's corrugated metal parking sheds, and, you know, a lot of roofing is corrugated metal, so.
Yeah, that would be simpler and easy. But someone brought up a point that if there was a structure there, they'd want to match the two structures together. Someone said, the house. Possibly I will build a small passive solar home where that, where I'm moving that from.
Oh, I
And
see.
so
Okay.
it would be a block stucco building, because for the passive solar, to have the mass inside. So I was thinking then they would match, but, it's the metal siding would certainly be fire resistant, and that's mostly what I'm trying to do.
Architecturally speaking, like, if it's a barn, it looks like a barn. If it's a shed, it looks like a shed.
Okay.
If it's a house, it looks like a house. So,
Okay.
the cladding of a shed is oftentimes corrugated metal,
Yeah.
so.
So the city of Bisbee standards for the historic district definitely gives us the ability to approve stucco as well as corrugated sheet metal or a number of other sidings.
Yeah, I mean, I would leave that decision to you, that if it was either stucco or, I would approve as is, but if you want to use corrugated metal, you would not probably have a problem with the board, because there is a lot of that in Bisbee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't consider that because I just didn't consider it to be very architectural pleasing. But
Anybody else have comments, concerns? Yes?
I'm ready to make a motion.
Do it. Go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to accept 2421 as either smooth trowel stucco or round corrugated panels.
I second the motion. All in favor say aye.
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 All against say nay. Okay, the ayes have it. Your application is passed unanimously, and you have choices.
yes, it sounds good. Well, thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Have a good day.
All right, moving right along to agenda item 5. Application 24-22, 142 Quarry Canyon Road. Come on up and,
I looked online.
is it Richard?
It's Richard Lucas.
Thank you.
Yes, I have brought with me, since it's not my area of expertise, I'm the owner of the house. And I can tell you, I bought it in 1998. I think it's built in 1900. What we're asking the board to approve are new windows. We're not changing what's there now. I can't tell you that what's there now was what was there in 1900. I've tried to find out what the windows looked like before we bought the house in '98, and haven't been able to do that. So what we're essentially doing is simply replacing windows that are old, drafty, not energy efficient, with windows that will be structurally or in terms of design the same as what's there now. Now, having said that, you're going to have questions, and I have brought with me my designer and my contractor, and I would like to defer to my design person, if I could, for questions about this. She helped me fill out the application.
Absolutely,
Look at her, her name's Cindy Graff Coleman.
okay.
Thank you. The windows are a composite of wood and some other ingredients. The type of window, I can't find the page, but it's a certain kind of material that looks like wood, but it's going to be painted, and it is very airtight and watertight, the windows.
Okay.
And there's a list of the windows that are involved and which room they're in, and then there's a map also that shows you where those windows have to be located. Oh, the name of the material is Fibrex. It's the page here that does a comparison of that material to vinyl, aluminum, and wood, and in terms of insulating properties, low maintenance, rigidity of the structure, durability, etc. It looked like a good choice for energy efficient windows. Currently, some of the windows in this house don't open. They've been painted shut for perhaps decades, longer than he has lived there. Some of the windows are certainly rotted, and if you sit in front of one of the front windows or one of the side windows, when it's windy, your hair blows in the wind. They whistle for a lot of these windows. So it was suggested that we start with windows in doing an update and renovation of this home, which had not been touched since Rick moved in, bought it in 1998 as a vacation home. As we're in our 70s and interested in staying in Bisbee more than just an occasional weekend, we're hoping to make this a more livable and energy efficient home. The electrical system is another part of this application. It needs to be upgraded to a higher voltage box.
That was given administrative approval
Okay.
prior to the meeting.
Okay.
Oh, okay, thank you. And then we would like to replace the door. If you look on the Bisbee Historic Guidelines, one of the doors that says no with 3 rectangular pieces of glass, that's that door.
Okay.
At 142. So we're glad to have made these historic pages just for the wrong reason. So we're looking at more of a traditional door in keeping with the examples that are in those guidelines.
So the existing windows that are in there, those are metal casement windows, I believe?
They are aluminum.
They're aluminum windows?
Uh-huh.
They look like they have the swing out
Oh, no,
side?
they're not casement. They, there's a picture window, like in the front of the house, it's a picture window. In the middle, it looks like this one toward the end. And this is the picture window, and these slide inward.
Okay.
That's how it is now. Then there's also a color picture of how it would look in the real life. Interesting, you can see, it's a picture window in the middle, and it's really a great view from there.
Question for the chair, are we in board discussion?
No,
No.
no. No, we're not. Okay, thank you.
Are there any
Appreciate
other
it.
questions, or?
We might,
Okay.
when we get to board
Sounds good.
discussion.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, any public comments at this time for or against this application? Nobody? Okay, staff comments?
As long as those windows on the bedroom adhere to the egress, I'd be pretty happy with that.
Okay, thank you, Javier. All right, board discussion is now open.
Yeah, I guess the only two windows I take issue with are the last remaining two historical ones. I would prefer to see those restored by a craftsperson and weatherproofed and got working nice instead of replaced. The other windows that are not historic, the aluminum ones that slide,
Yeah.
because they're not historic, they've already, I'm fine with like for like, I prefer double hung, but I'm fine with like for like, I guess. But yeah, just those two last remaining historic windows, it'd be nice to see those be restored instead of replaced as per the National Park guideline.
It's 103, and I guess 104. 103 and 104? Yes.
Yes.
The kitchen and the, yeah. So, just to understand what you're saying, so those would have, those two windows would have a different look from the other windows in the house? They're different materials and so, okay, I just didn't know. And the kitchen one too.
May I make a comment?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Although I'm not doing the windows, I'm doing other work at the house. The two windows in question, one of them is a taller window in the kitchen, the other one's a small one in front of the sink. The larger window size is planned to be changed in order to make room for the counters or cabinets that are going to be in front of it. So restoring it probably isn't going to be feasible. So we're hoping, and I'm speaking for them, and by the way, those windows are at the back of the house, not visible from neighboring properties, and there's a hill back there, so.
So which one of these is the kitchen? This is the kitchen window here?
No, actually, that window, it's not in this because we don't have a window yet for that. And so when it came time to do that window, after the cabinets are put in and the counters put on, that window, I would come back in front of the design review board to look at those, because I don't have the size of that window, so I didn't include it. That's like a second visit to the design review board.
Okay, so which is the window that you're referring to?
I'm referring to the two kitchen windows at the back of the house. And I believe those are the ones that were not going to be, that they wanted to restore. Am I correct?
There is a double hung window in the living room. So there would be one old window in the living room and then two new windows in the same room.
Yeah, this one and this one.
Is that 103 and 104?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are in the living room then?
One's in the living room and one's over the sink. It's just a little teeny window over the sink.
And that's already accounted for the counter, because it's.
Well, the other window.
Yeah, the small window's not in the way.
Yeah, it's not affecting the small window.
If I may speak.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with replacing those windows with updated windows in kind, as long as they look like that. I'd like to see double paned, updated windows. If that's what they wanted to do.
That's what I was going to recommend.
Just update the windows, yes.
Correct.
It's nice to restore.
From the outside, you wouldn't know the difference.
I just think the practicality, it just isn't there. My opinion.
Yes,
Are you replacing a bedroom window?
There's 9 windows in the house and we're replacing all 9. At this point, there's 8 windows under discussion.
Right, but one of them's in the bedroom?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So hopefully this doesn't happen, but if there's a fire, is there a way out of that bedroom other than the window?
The master bedroom has 2 windows, I believe, one on each corner. And you're referring to the egress in case?
Yeah.
Yes, and that's something that we had discussed with Javier. And I don't know, I haven't, because I'm not doing the windows, have you had a chance to look at the sizes to see if they qualify?
heard it, yeah.
I know there's so many square feet that you have to have.
Yeah.
In
So
the
you're-
bedroom, you just walk out onto the porch from the window.
Yeah, but the window's big enough where you can jump through it if you
Right.
have to. Okay,
Yeah, they're over 5.7.
gotcha.
Yes.
In regards to the 2 double hung windows, oftentimes it actually is cheaper to restore a window. 2 case in points, one is Old Bisbee High School, they opted to restore those windows, not replace them. Also the Warner Hotel, all of those windows were restored instead of replaced, and that was far cheaper than replacing them, so.
I also would like to see the historic windows restored rather than replaced. I don't have any problem with the other 6 windows that are under discussion, is that correct? 8 total?
Unless you're going to approve the 9th window without knowing the size of it.
No, that would have to come back to the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know they want to have the same look of the windows and feel and you know, functionality. Would donating the windows be an option so that somebody else can use those? So that they don't go to waste? I'm referring to the 2
Yeah, I understand.
originals.
I understand. That's a kind of a new question. But it's sort of irrelevant to this case because you're still taking historic windows out, you know, even if they went somewhere else.
Sure.
I mean, it would be lovely if you did take them out for them to go somewhere else, but,
Could I make a comment?
yes, you may.
I understand the desire to preserve the 2 windows that the gentleman thinks can be restored, but I think it's gonna look odd with all these other windows and to have this restoration on 2 of the windows. It seems to be the uniformity, if it's in conformance with the historical look generally, would make sense to keep them all the same, rather than create 2 that are different than the other now 5 or 6.
I could reply to that. Then the best option would be to not replace like for like with the sliding windows and actually make those all double hung to match what the true historic
They're
is.
too wide to be double.
Well, you know, you put double hung, a divider like a column, and then another double hung. That's how they would have done it.
The other living room window that is the double hung, it's the picture right in the middle of the page. That's actually an aluminum window. It's not a wood window. However, the one over the sink, I think, could be partially a wood window. The outside frame looks like it could be wood. So perhaps we could, I don't know, that's different, but the aluminum, I don't know that that's as historic as a wood window. I don't know. I don't know.
In 1900, they would have been all wood.
So our standards do allow for the aluminum windows, and I'm not sure if that's even a question. It sounds like you're removing one of the original windows so that you can redo the kitchen.
Yes.
So that's going to be a different size. We don't know what that is yet. So we're talking one window, right?
Which is not on this.
That's not on this,
package.
that's a different window.
Yeah, that's a future item.
So I don't think
So-
there's any, the request is not unreasonable. I believe our standards allows us to make that decision on whether or not we're gonna approve it. You know, we've got- yeah.
Yeah, and so it sounds like there's just one window then that's historic, which is a small kitchen window.
No, there's two,
I thought,
103 and 104.
I thought that one was an aluminum that she had just said.
It's aluminum.
Oh, is it?
One of them is aluminum.
I don't know, which one?
Yeah, I guess that would be 103.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's aluminum.
Doesn't look like it.
I'm all for updating windows, I mean.
And additionally, there was, I don't think the request is on here, I read it someplace that the faux shutters, you want the faux shutters to
Yeah.
go away. Yeah, I wholly agree with that.
Yeah. Ooh, good point.
I have one more question if you don't mind.
Mr. Cook,
Okay.
please?
Maybe
Yes.
this for night, I don't know, but you're withholding one window until you decide later what you're gonna do with it?
We know what we're gonna do with it, we just need to get the correct size so that
Yeah.
it's.
Will they have to file another permit or whatever you call it? So we can't somehow include saving some money? Okay.
All right, any more questions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve as is, docket number 24-22.
Do we have a second?
A second?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Nay. We have 3 ayes and 2 nays, so your application does pass. Thank you. All right, moving along to agenda item 6, application number 24-23, 67A Brewery Avenue. Welcome, Sarah.
Hi everybody. Thanks for hearing my application. We are in the process of trying to preserve what we're calling the carriage house. We did not come up with that name, that's just what the people we bought the property from called it, which is an old barn, kind of tucked behind Brewery Avenue. It's not really on Brewery Avenue, it's kind of between Brewery and OK Street. Yeah, and in order to do that, we need to make some pretty big improvements, including a new roof. The roof is leaking. We'd like to put a front porch on it because there was a front porch there and because there's a lot of rot since water's just been able to get to the front of this building. And then also do some structural work to shore up the floor and the walls. Tomas Enriquez is working on this with me. He actually worked on this back in the day, so he's really knows what's going on in that building and what needs to be done to fix it. I am not a contractor, so I will try to answer your questions as much as I can. But yeah, so there's that component of this application, and then 67 Brewery actually has a couple structures on it. The other is an Adobe longhouse, which you guys had already approved some work that we did on that, including shoring up the Adobe, putting on a new, or reinstalling the back roof to that. So just to give you some context, that building was probably not many years away from just falling down. It was sold to us as a tear down, not that you can do that, but that's kind of how it was presented to us. So we've done a lot of work on this property already to try and preserve these historic buildings. The Adobe is 1880, is what we were told. The carriage house is probably 1900s, probably a little later than the Adobe, but basically we bought this property to preserve these historic buildings and to make them usable. They weren't actually habitable before we started working on them. So,
And then there's skylights.
well, yeah, we would like to have, so there's inside the Adobe, there's a sleeping loft, and it would be nice to bring in some light there by putting in skylights. We'd be using the Verilux skylights, so the flat, not bubble ones. You'll have to excuse the pictures and the like sketched in stuff. That was me. I didn't do those to scale. I just kind of wanted to show you where we were thinking of doing that. So we want to replace the roof. It currently has a plastic ridged kind of skylight thing on the other side. If you look at the picture taken from the top of staircase 1, either in between those two ladders on the roof, and I don't know why they're on there, and I should have probably said we would maybe remove those ladders.
So you can fix the leak on the skylight.
Yeah, so the leaks everywhere in that roof. But yeah, we would propose putting 2 skylights in there where now there's one really large, very leaky skylight sort of thing. And then on the other side, putting in 3, so we could drop some light into the sleeping loft and also just add more light into the actual barn.
And what would those skylights be made of?
They'd be Verilux skylights, which are the flat, you know, just regular skylights. I think Tomas said that those are the ones that you guys have said in the past, like those are.
And this is the road right here.
That's, yeah, OK Street. So they would be placed high enough that you wouldn't be looking into the room.
But they would be visible by people
They'd
going
be,
by.
absolutely, they'd be visible from OK Street, and on the other side, you would have 2 skylights visible from the top of staircase 1. Oh, so then there's, yeah, so the other work that I packaged into this was we would like to put a shed on the property, because while we do have these 2 buildings there now, there is no storage space. So I would like to buy a shed and then clad it to fit in a little bit better, so it's not, doesn't look like something right off the Home Depot yard lot.
So one of those like tough sheds and then
A tough shed,
put something
but
around
then
it?
clad it. Yeah, our neighbors have a shed on their property that's just clad in rusty metal and galvanized metal, and that would fit with the existing fence that's kind of around part of the property and kind of fit in with the look. We certainly aren't gonna do all this work to these properties to then put a, you know, barn red tough shed on the property.
Right, so this is where it would be at the back of the yard?
It would be at the back of the
And
yard.
that's behind everything, is it not?
It's kind of to the side of everything. So the property at one time had a 3rd building on it that was torn down sometime in the 80s, a 3rd home. And now it's 1 parcel with these 2 buildings. And then in the middle unit of the adobe, because we would like to be able to make use of that space, we would like to put in a mini split. And you can see there that it would, the condenser part of it would go just against that wall. Mini split would be inside, obviously. And because it is such a small space and the adobe stays pretty temperate, and that's all we think we need.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, you have a question?
Could you open it up?
I did not open it up to board discussion yet, but let's move on and hang out because we probably have more questions. All right, so public comments, anybody, Joe, want to speak?
Well, I was gonna say that the building that used to be on the lot was torn down by 2016. And, just as a side note, and then the Velux skylights, they're also referred to as roof windows, because they're flat painted glass, just so that they're trying to make you guys understand, repeated what she was talking about.
They're not those weird bubble.
Yeah, okay, thank you, I appreciate that. Staff comments?
A lot going on, see what
That's
you
a
guys
lot.
think.
It's a lot. It is a lot, yeah. Okay, that's all you have?
That's all I have for now.
All right. Closing staff comments, opening up board discussion, Mr. Lepley.
Yeah, the mini split unit, a lot of times we see the cooling lines or drain lines really causing a lot of problems, just because they're like kind of snake all over the place. Do you know how those are gonna get routed into the building if they just go directly
They're
into
gonna
the
go
back?
through the wall and then just down the wall to the condenser. on
Okay,
the
so it's
exterior.
just straight to the other side?
Yeah.
Is that unit more towards the wall on OK Street, or where is it located? Because I can't really tell.
The unit would be located in the middle unit of the adobe, which is neither, is right in the middle of the property. It's And would you be able to see the condenser from OK Street? Probably if you look down, you could see it.
But not from Brewery.
But not from
Because
Brewery.
it's behind the other building.
And also, at some point, we would like to, so the properties are, I mean, there's the ability to use those two pieces, those two buildings separately, so we're planning to build some sort of fence between the carriage house and the Adobe, and if that went in, then you wouldn't even be able to see the condenser from OK Street.
And there is a mini split on the back of that longhouse.
Mhm. And the condenser is also on the back, yeah.
So that carriage house is fantastic, I really like it.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
My question would be, you're going to be putting supports under for the floor, the new joists on the floor.
Mhm.
Are you going to leave all of that board and batten intact?
On the exterior,
Yeah.
yeah, we want to keep the look of the carriage house, the exterior look of the carriage house. We'll be building an interior supporting wall, because right now nothing has been done on this building.
So actually, the same wood is going to be there?
Yeah, we're not taking any wood off, we're building actually inside of the building to shore it up, to help support the, I wish Tomas was here, but to, go onto the floor, help support the roof, like just shore it up. It's a little bit bouncy in that building right now. We just want to make sure it stays covered.
And you're replacing, what'd you say, the roof is some kind of plastic?
No, so the roof is metal.
Oh, it is
And we're
metal,
gonna, like with like, on the
Okay.
roof.
Roof is-
What is plastic is it's that, that wavy plastic, weird porch stuff that they would put up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what
Gotcha,
that is
gotcha.
on the existing, what we're calling a skylight, which isn't really a skylight. It's like a big square that you can open up in the roof. And you can, it leaks, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a lot to consider here.
I was trying to get it all in
yeah.
under one. That's one and done.
And the shed roof for the patio or the porch that you're putting on, that will be?
That would be metal as well, yeah. And you can see when you go to the front of the carriage house where there was the porch there, there's
Yeah.
the squares and the
Yeah.
concrete and, it's just that needs some love, that building.
And then so you're gonna put posts in and then the
The
metal?
Yeah, the roof, it'll basically fit the same footprint, cause it's still there to see. There's the concrete slab is there, there's the little squares where the posts were. We just wanna basically direct water away from, the foundations. And I think aesthetically, it's what it was there, and it'll look so much nicer, and it'll just look like it did. And, that building gets passed by thousands of ghost tour people every year, so.
And thousands of ghosts.
And we have no ghosts, but the ghost tour does stop there every day.
I'm not sure if I believe that. Okay, do we have any more questions for Sarah?
Well, maybe
Bob?
this is a question for the board, maybe. This is a contributing structure.
Yes.
How do we deal with skylights?
That's the one thing that kind of bothers me is that seeing those skylights,
And they're quite visible.
yeah, they're very visible, just seeing them from OK Street. Feels a little funky to me. I do understand the need for ventilation.
If they faced the other way?
They have two on the other side, right?
I'm proposing two on the other side, and the other side has the existing skylight.
Yeah.
But on the OK side, it's just the roof.
Have we had other examples of contributing homes with skylights?
Well, the Adobe actually had skylights in all of its rooms, and they were the ugly bubble.
Yeah.
ones.
And so
So
who
that
knows?
was already, I mean, and that building is 1880s and had
Right.
those skylights.
But it may have, those may have preceded even the DRB.
Oh, I'm sure that, I mean,
Yeah,
I
we
would
don't
assume
really
that
know.
they did,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I think I'm okay with the skylights being on the other side. Because it is such a really interesting old building, you know, I just feel like it's kind of jarring to see skylights right there.
I think I would be okay with that. I would love then to be able to, on the fly, amend this picture to maybe show one more skylight here, since this is the edge with the sleeping loft, which is
So you
really
have
where,
3 on the other side.
on the other side
And
and
none
none
on
the
OK Street side. I think I would be okay with that.
and can we, yeah, I would be okay with that too, I think. I mean, it would save me some,
Okay,
Sounds like a motion.
yeah. You want me to make a motion? Is that what you said? Sure, I'll make a motion. Okay, I make a motion to pass application number 24-23 with the contingency that the skylights on the OK side of the building not be there, and 3 skylights are permitted on the other side of the building facing brewery.
I think that's the east side.
West.
East facing view. I don't know. I know what you mean as long as it's clear. Yeah.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. 5 ayes have it. You are approved with the contingency that skylights on one side of the building.
Duly noted. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah. All right. Here she comes. She's gonna give us a talking to. She's gonna give us a talking to. We're gonna get our wrist slapped.
Oh my God! This is one of the last items.
Okay.
That was on my watch, and I didn't feel it was appropriate to leave the manual with everything.
Okay, thank you.
Even though he would have done it for me.
I sure would have. Yes, I would have.
So when the design review board discussed this in prior meetings, the issue was the interpretation of section H of Article 7 sign regulation, where it states, may be located on the subject property or in the vicinity of the subject property. The board felt that the vicinity could be interpreted in many different ways. It was also discussed prohibiting locations, but no concrete statements were nailed down. We have provided new language as now included to define those prohibited locations. Sandwich board signs and other portable signs are a great marketing tool and can be critically important to the visual aesthetics for a business. They are pedestrian oriented and help move and draw people down the sidewalks and into storefronts, restaurants, and offices. It is also important to maintain the aesthetic standards of those signs and protect the investment made by all and the city to keep the sidewalks and streetscapes looking their best and safe to walk on. By better defining and listing the prohibited locations, we will accomplish this goal. With this amendment, we believe that we have accomplished it. So I won't take the time to read it, but you can see the part where that was in darker red was originally there, and I'm asking to remove that with new language. And then I have included the prohibited locations. And I'll take any questions if the board has them. And if I can't answer them, Joe's here and helps me.
Gonna work.
So
Make him work.
will this tend to make all the signs appear the same?
Well, it gives a specific, how shall not exceed 4 feet in height and 6 square feet per face. So it would kind of give them the same format, but the aesthetics of the sign, whatever they have on it, would be different.
Yeah.
But we decided that that amount you would still be able to walk on some of the sidewalk areas.
I'm excited with the distance, you know, that's stated in here in the last code, it really didn't give a distance. Now we have the teeth to actually see how far away they are, and If they're too far, we could pull them, or tell them to remove them. And the distance for the walking, we gotta have that for our pedestrians.
Yeah, the 3 feet
Yeah.
clear area.
Yeah, if they're
For
too big
people
and they're
like
having
that.
to go into the street, that's a hazard, so.
Mhm.
So they could go in a pedestrian passage as long as there's at least 3 feet.
Of
Correct.
clearance.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's important to, consider the, let's say, mechanics of it, so people don't hit their head and all that kind of stuff. My only worry is, and I still don't fully understand, part of the charm of an old town like Bisbee is that the signs can be different.
Right, but this is just the
These
sandwich
are just the
board.
sandwich board
Yes,
signs.
this is only for the sandwich board and other portable signs. Those are the ones that
Okay.
are standing, that are on pedestals or A-frame signs and things like that. That's
Yeah.
all that we're
Okay,
trying to have because it was, vicinity can be interpreted in very many different ways.
mhm,
And we were not able to, when signs were not where we considered the vicinity, it's open to interpretation. This takes the interpretation out and specifically states where they can be.
okay.
For example, one shop in Old Bisbee, they put a sign all the way down the circle. So
Oh, yeah, I
we
knew
didn't
that,
have-
that's what I was thinking.
we did, the code didn't really let us even pull that sign or
Yeah.
anything, so this is why this is brought forward. They have to keep it close to their shop.
Yeah. And 1 sign per business.
Yes.
So that also kind of, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so question, these won't go through any permitting, right?
No, these are temporary, signs exempt from permit requirements.
Okay.
This is just better defining what was already there and then giving prohibited locations.
Yeah, because I would say if they were permitted, that could be a
No.
liability action.
No, these are
Come down
just
to close the business.
yeah,
Yep.
these have to come down once the business is
Every night.
closed, and it says that at the, and the sign is removed by the close of business each
And
night.
this is only for within Old Bisbee, so if it's on the traffic circle, it's fine.
If your business is in Old Bisbee and you have it on the traffic circle, that's not fine.
Right.
It should be next to your business. That's the issue that we had, is that the sign was not anywhere near the business that was being advertised.
And plus you can only have 1, so.
Correct.
You'd really want it closer to your business rather than,
I would assume so,
you would assume, yeah.
but who am I?
But it can't be that far from the business anyway, which kind of takes care of that. Sounds okay to me.
I just,
What's your concern?
my concern is the farmer's market and yard sales.
But that's not in Old Bisbee.
But that's not in Old Bisbee.
This is just
There
Old
could be
Bisbee.
yard sales in Old Bisbee.
Yeah, but same deal, the signs gotta come down when
They-
the yard
yeah.
sale's over.
Yeah, they come down as soon as the sale's over, they can't stay.
But they put, usually those are like flyers.
Yeah, or they have neon signs that are on little stakes right in front of their thing. It would be removed quickly. It's not like they would leave them there permanent. These are for the ones that advertise,
Right.
Yeah, I just want to make
Yeah.
sure it's clear in the
Yeah.
codes that people don't start ripping up yard sale signs or something, or the farmer's market sign, because
Oh,
that
no.
would be like an unintended consequence.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure it's clear on that.
I think those fall barn are like special events and like
yeah.
stuff like that. And these are like shops that are open up every day.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
want to make sure that wording in here is clear to
Okay.
exclude those.
So that alley that sort of ends at Subway, I don't know what the street that is. There's several businesses there. They could not put a sign, let's say on Subway, saying, store opening or anything like that. It has to be in front of their,
Has to be 25 feet.
25 feet from, so it can be,
easy enough. Huh?
Yeah.
so if you're thinking of the little smoothie place, they have their sign on the corner.
I can put it
I
on the
think it
board.
might
Barely reach.
barely reach, yeah.
We want to make it where they can still be seen and that they get the foot traffic that they're wanting. But we have those instances where the other individuals
Yes.
have an issue with that.
So it says sandwich board and other portable signs, a sandwich board, A-frame, or freestanding portable sign. So that wouldn't include flyers and things like that, because we, you know what I mean, that are on telephone poles announcing art events and concerts and things like that. That's a different kind of a.
Maybe. So in my experience, occasionally when you add more description, something becomes more confusing. So first off, maybe someone could educate me on what is driving this. I mean, if someone has a sign even in the circle and they're removing it every evening.
They're not, that's the problem, they were not.
Well, so that's already addressed.
Right, but other than that, because our definition of vicinity and their definition of vicinity were two different things.
I think a good example is the smoothie shop who constantly put a sign at the end of the hallway or whatever, alleyway.
Between the bank and the.
Yeah, out on Tombstone. Now, I get it, but that is not within, that would not be within the confines. We want that sign 25 feet from their business.
Yeah.
As opposed to out on, I don't think, well, the circle's an example, but a better
Right, we're just
example is
using
a
that as
smooth,
an
as a
But you're
smoothie
correct.
shop.
So,
You're
And that is a hazard.
and I
Bad
get it.
sign.
I understand,
Yeah.
you know, the 25-foot.
Mhm.
However, nobody goes down that road where the smoothie shop is, so I know.
They do now.
Everybody does now.
So I know I
They,
did.
I was talking
So,
about.
yes, we understand why they do it.
He knows it best.
But again, it's their interpretation of the word that was already in there is subject property and vicinity.
Right, and going further, so I just, today I did
Yeah.
a couple walks through town with a tape
So
measure.
we're not trying to make sure, we want
And
to make
there's
sure
two signs
everybody.
already that fall outside of
Oh, yeah.
the 6 square feet. So I mean, they're not in the sidewalk, people are not tripping over them, they're in,
Now, what are you talking about? On Tombstone Canyon?
on Tombstone Canyon, Main Street.
Or on Main Street? Yeah, Main Street.
So, yes, we're adding more definition. Do we
No, I
really
totally
want-
get it, and it's, I mean, it's something the board asked to look at and to discuss.
Understand.
And so we had a lot of other things to discuss, and so now I'm coming back with a better,
Definition of.
well, not only that, but we had so many discussions about what everybody wanted to see. This is a combination of what everybody wanted to see. It's very hard to please 7 people.
What?
I wonder if this is even appropriate for the board, actually, because it's not a historical
Should it be a zoning
building.
thing?
This is a planning and zoning thing,
Well-
and a code issue.
Right.
I don't really feel that the board has any.
Well, basically, all I was asking is if the board wanted us to take it to planning and zoning. Is all I was really asking, because that was the question that was asked prior to.
Again,
And I
think it's
do
kinda-
understand exactly what you're
Kind of mission
saying.
creep a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I agree.
Mission Creek, Mission Creek. We don't want to be Mission Creeks.
No, we don't. I
No.
mean, you kind of stay within your purview, and I.
But I
really-
think what I wanted to make sure is that they were understanding what we were gonna prohibit and what we were gonna expand,
Yeah,
is basically what I wanted them to understand.
right. So,
Yeah, the 25 feet worries me a little bit still, and I'm thinking especially that alley that we all drive through right now, because those people need a lot of help. And 25 feet isn't very much.
But
So-
you,
And I think they are getting the signage already for those shops. I think it might have been approved already.
The one that's hanging?
yeah,
The ones that are hanging, so they're gonna get the help that they need
yeah,
to get
They
people
are.
to walk that way.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily worried about that part, but, you know, those shops may change over time too, and to really attract, I think 25 feet for some of those stores won't get it out to Subway.
but then where do you draw the line?
I don't know if we do.
You know?
Property line of the, instead of the business rental area, it's property line of
Within 25 feet of the property
the,
line.
no, you could make it shorter than
Yeah.
10 feet of the
I
property
really
line.
think this is a discussion for the.
Yep.
planning
Yeah, yeah.
and
Nope,
zoning. I think
gotcha.
we're just gonna go round and round here.
Right,
So,
I agree,
wouldn't-
I agree.
Frank?
Yeah.
So, and we can bring those concerns up to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Mhm. Okay.
So, and then, we don't need a motion
Okay,
on it.
we do not need a motion.
No, ma'am.
So thank you, Nina. I
You're very
appreciate you
welcome.
bringing it back to us after all our conversation.
We don't make a motion?
Yeah. All right, so agenda item 8, was that what we just, what's this one now? Oh, for solar energy devices.
Oh, no, 8 is approval of the February 28th board
I'm looking at the
special.
wrong one.
Yeah, you were looking at the minutes to approve.
I was just like, wait, now where's today's though? Now I don't know where I put it. Is this it? Okay. Agenda item 8, approval of the February 28, 2024 Design Review Board Special Session Meeting Minutes. I make a motion that we approve the February 28, 2024 Design Review Board Special Session Meeting Minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Kraus seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. All against say nay. Okay. All right, so we have 4 ayes and 1 abstain, so that passes. Agenda item 9, approval of the March 6, 2024 Design Review Board meeting minutes. Anybody like to make a motion? I'll make a motion to approve the March 6, 2024 Design Review Board meeting minutes. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, Mr. Guy seconds. All in favor say aye.
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 Abstain.
Okay, we have 4 ayes and 1 abstain, so that also passes. Staff comments?
No, thank you guys for your hard work and keeping us going.
Thank you.
And I would like to thank Lori for presenting last night
Most definitely.
the annual review of DRB, and I think the council is very impressed with the work that this committee does. And you guys work hard, and Nina, you're above and beyond always, so.
Well, thank you very much.
You know, no, so, good things were said.
Yeah, good things were said about the board and the amount of work that we're doing now compared to, I guess, 20 years ago. When it was a sleepy little board that didn't have much to
I
do.
don't know, but there you go with that.
What do I know? I don't know.
Anyway.
Okay. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate it.
And I just want to remind the board that the point of information meeting is coming up on April 10th, that you'll have with SHPO. It will start at 4 p.m. That way she's not here too late. We're hoping that the meeting will last about an hour and a half to 2 hours, no longer than that. And we have contacted contractors who might be in, we've sent out a thing for contractors if they're interested in joining, that they're more than welcome to join in.
Okay, great. Thank you. Future agenda item suggestions. Does anybody have anything at this time they would like to submit?
Well, that may be more appropriate for a workshop than the regular DRB meeting, right? It's confusing.
Well, it's in one of our agenda
Yeah.
items, so that's just for future DRB meeting agenda items that you think you might want to discuss. You don't have to have anything, but
Right.
if you do,
But is that something we would discuss in a meeting like we just had?
yes.
Or- Okay.
You would just give the topic now, and then it would be discussed at the next meeting.
Okay. With the public present.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anybody?
Make a motion to adjourn.
That would be the next thing. Okay, if we don't have anything, I make a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Design Review Board on April 3rd, 2024. Who seconds? Mr. Guy? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. The ayes have it. This meeting of the Design Review Board is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
You always.
I appreciate it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, it's hot in this room. It is very warm in here. Like my eyes.
Oh, you did.
I thought it was